Welcome to another episode of More to the Story podcast, the podcast that's all about telling your story and sharing it with the world. I am your host, Janna Maron. Welcome back. It's so great to be here with you. In addition to this podcast, I also publish a literary arts magazine called Under the Gum Tree, which publishes creative nonfiction and visual art. And I'm also a book coach and editor for women writing nonfiction with my company, More to the Story. You can learn more about Under the Gum Tree at underthegumtree.com and more about my company, More to the Story, at moretothestory.co. Thank you so much for being here. It is the second episode of More to the Story in the new year of 2025, and I literally hit end record on last week's episode and hit record for this week's episode. I'm recording them back to back. You may notice I look almost exactly the same. My hair is the same. My glasses the same. I did take my sweater off because I was getting a little warm sitting here talking and getting all worked up on the last episode. So here I am. I'm not even going to do podcast episode numbers anymore. It's just going to be a new podcast episode. And I said in last week's episode that my goal is to record and release a new episode weekly. So here we are, 2 weeks in a row. Ideally, this one is being released on, I was trying to find my calendar and then I just opened something that I didn't even want to open. February 10th. If the first episode came out on the 3rd, then the next episode should be coming out on the 10th, right? Okay, I'm bad with math, everyone. Computer laptop is so old that it can only do one thing at a time. So excuse that little interruption, distraction of making sure that no extra programs are running while I'm recording. So welcome back. I'm happy to have you here. Last week I said that I wanted to talk about this idea of the story you're telling yourself about the book that you want to write and the publishing path that you want to pursue. And this, the short version of this is really, it all comes down to, what do you want? What is the thing that you actually want? Because there are so many experts and gurus out there, especially in the publishing space, who will tell you that you have to do it this way. You have to write a book proposal. You have to send it out and get an agent. You have to let that agent get you the best possible advance that you possibly can. You want to make as much money up front because you don't know how well it's going to sell, and you aren't going to be making any monies until you earn back your advance, and you want to make as much money as you possibly can up front. And you have to build a platform, and that platform means it's an X number of followers on all these different social media platforms, or on your email list, or a built-in audience because of your business, or whatever the case, right? There's like all these people out there telling you the best way to do it. Not only the best way to get a book deal and to get published, but also to actually write the book. I don't know how this happened, but sometime last year, I started getting these ads on Instagram and they made me so freaking angry. I got to be careful if I want to keep the podcast clean because I do have a tendency to cuss. But oh my gosh, these ads made me so angry because of course they were a white dude talking about how he has this program, and he's trying to sell his program for writing your book in 30 days. And all these thousands of people have gone through his program and have written their book in 30 days. And I'm sitting there reading this, or not reading, but like looking at this ad, their video ads, hearing this dude, this bro, literally a bro, like wearing a flat billed hat, or like sometimes his hat would even be like backwards with like a big full fuzzy beard. I mean, you know the stereotypical dude that I'm talking about when I describe him like that, and I call him a dude. Watching these videos of this dude talk about how, like, take action now, sign up for my thing, in 30 days you'll have your book written and ready to publish. And I'm just thinking to myself, not realistic, dude. And also, I don't know about you, but I don't want to read a book that was written in 30 days. because all that does for me as a potential reader is communicate to me that you did not put in the care and attention into writing your book, that if you're not putting in the time that it takes to create a quality product, why should I give you my time to even read the thing? Why should I engage with your stuff if you're just rushing through it and slapping something together and getting it done as quickly as possible so that it's out there and available? That's not the type of book that I want to read, and I don't think those type of books even deserve my time and attention. Because I want to engage with work of authors who are giving it their all. And those are the type of authors that I work with. So I've kind of lost my train of thought. How did I get on the topic of those ads? I started seeing those ads and they just made me angry. But they were somehow connected to this bigger point of what is it that you want? And now I can't make the connection in my brain. I totally went off on that rabbit trail and I can't find my way back. But so we'll just keep going on this idea of what is it that you want? Oh, I think it was just like, here's a guru telling you, here's the process, here's a formula for not just publishing, but for writing and creating the book. So there's all kinds of people out there peddling that their way is the best way and that it will work for you too. I don't do that. I don't buy into any of that BS because every person, especially women, with our varying levels of energy fluctuating throughout the month based on our monthly cycle, based on where we are in, whether we're approaching the end of our monthly cycle and we're in perimenopause and how that affects us. One of the most mind-blowing things I ever learned was that men and women, male and female, literal physical energies are not equal to each other. And it's based on our hormone cycles because a male hormone cycle cycles every 24 hours like the sun. So their energy is consistent and they can maybe power through and write a book in 30 days. But a female's hormone cycle cycles every 28 days. Like the moon, which means our energy waxes and wanes depending on where we are in our cycle. Sometimes we have lower energy, sometimes we have higher energy. And we can't power through because we don't have the same consistent levels of energy on a daily basis the way that men, males, people with male biology do. Okay, that was a little bit of a tangent because I get really worked up when I see especially dudes talking about how just do it my way, just power through, just here's the formula. And it just doesn't work for everyone. And so the first thing that I do with my clients when we start to work together is they come to me usually because they've been working on a book for a very long time and they can't finish it. Or maybe they're close to finishing it, or this happened just last week. Somebody actually has a complete draft. And she reached out to me. She wants to work with me. And she has all these questions. Should I self-publish? Should I try to get an agent? Should I hire an editor first? She has all these questions like, what should I do? She's trying to make decisions about her best path forward. But here's the thing. We're jumping to the how. We're jumping to the strategy without first taking some steps back and asking ourselves some really important clarifying questions around what do I want out of this book? What do I want the book to do for me? What's my vision for this book? What's my vision for myself as an author? And then once we know the answers to those questions, guess what? Those answers inform the decisions that you're making about how to get published. So here's an example. This whole idea for this topic came up because I was having coffee with a new friend a couple weeks ago, and she wants to write a book. She wanted to write a book even before she met me, which is kind of the experience that I have. I meet people and I tell them the type of work that I do, and I would say 85 to 90% of the time, the person I'm talking to will say directly back to me, oh my gosh, I've always read a book. And launch into this conversation about, okay, well, why haven't you? What's holding you back? You've always wanted to do it. Why haven't you done it yet? It's like almost like a mini coaching session just in the first few minutes of meeting them. So I had coffee with this new friend of mine. Excuse me, I'm going to have a sip of water. I had coffee with this new friend of mine, and I already knew that she wanted to write a book, and I don't remember how I knew that. I think maybe we had gone back and forth in chat about it or something, because we met on Instagram, and so we had several conversations by DM chat on Instagram before we met in person, but she's local, and so she reached out and said, hey, why don't we meet in person, grab some coffee. So we did. So I already knew that she wanted to write a book, and she immediately started talking about how she follows this other person who says that if you want, and let me back up. She said right away that she wants to be published, and those were her words. She wants to be published. She's emphasizing the word be, as in she wants to have a publisher. She wants someone else to publish her book. She does not want to self-publish. So great. She's already answering one of the questions around what is it that you want. She wants to have a publisher. Awesome. That's a great thing to be really clear on. But then she starts talking about how she follows this other person in the book publishing space who I happen to know. And this other person talks about how if you want to be published, if you want to have a publisher, if you want to get a book deal, you have to have a platform. And not just any platform, but a big platform. Because that's how you're going to get a book deal. That's how you're going to get an advance and la la la. So she says to me, that's what I'm doing. I'm focusing on building my platform. And I said, and like a little kind of like PS backstory here is this person is a business coach whose whole philosophy is to find the most you way to do business. Sound familiar? Because I don't use those words to describe what I do with my clients, but basically that's what I'm preaching. I'm preaching that there is no one size fits all. There is no one path. There is no formula to getting published. And it's all about figuring out what's going to work best for you. So she does very similar work, but with her clients focused on small businesses and women in particular. So she's telling me about this person she follows who says that you have to have a platform and la la la. And I said to her, that's one way to do it. And there are many ways to do it. And in fact, that person does a very specific thing. She works with these big time online business influencers who, yes, have a built-in large following, because she knows that she can get these people she can write a book proposal for these people, and she knows that she can sell this proposal and get a 6-figure advance. Her whole shtick is that she gets her clients 6-figure advances. And I said to my new friend, is that what you want? Do you want a 6-figure advance? Is making money the most important thing for you with your book? And she was like, no, actually, I don't even really care about that. I just want my book to be on the bookshelf in a bookstore. And I was like, So guess what? You don't have to do it her way. Like, if that's what you want, you don't have to do it her way. And you don't have to delay the thing that you want based on building your platform and trying to build up all these followers that you don't know how long that's going to take. You don't know how long it would take to well, you can control how long it would take to write a proposal, but you don't know how long it could take to sell a proposal. And maybe you don't sell your proposal, your book on proposal. And maybe you don't get a big 6-figure advance. But if those are not the things that you want, then why are you following the path that is leading you there? So the questions that I ask my clients to work on when we start to work together, the very first thing that we do is we look at your vision and your goals. What is the vision you have for the book you're working on? Meaning, what do you envision your life is like in 5 years and the book is published? What do you envision is happening to that book? What is the life of that book? And also, what is your life as a published author? So what is the vision you have for the book? What is the vision you have for yourself as an author? And then once you have that clear, what are the goals that support that vision? Because why are you chasing after goals that are not in alignment with what you envision for yourself? Some other questions you can ask for yourself is, what do you want? Why do you want to write this book? And maybe start there. Why are you even writing this book in the first place? I mean, is it just because you've always wanted to write a book? Or is there a bigger reason? Why do you want to publish this book? Do you even want to publish the book? Because guess what? Not all writers who write a book even want to be published, and that's okay. You don't have to write a book with the goal of being published. And then what do you want the book to do for you as a person, as an author? And if you're in business for yourself, maybe you want the book to do something for your business. What do you want your book to do for your business? And then who are you with a published book? How does a published book affect you as a person, affect your business? What are you doing now that you're a published author that is different from what you're doing now? Like, imagine yourself in the future, the vision you have of yourself as a published author with a book published. What's different between that vision and your current reality? What are you doing in that vision that you're not doing now? And I would challenge you, is there anything you could be doing now that actually isn't contingent upon whether or not you have a book published? Because maybe you think the book being published is the magic key that's going to unlock everything for you. But I've seen books flop. I've seen books not do as well as the author had hoped. And that could be devastating if you were pinning all your hopes on this book project, on the book being published, and then it doesn't have the results that you hope for and that you want it to have. Because here's the truth. What I focus on with my clients are the things that we can control. We can't actually control whether or not you get an agent. We can't actually control whether or not you get a book deal. We can't actually control, unless you self-publish, we can't actually control whether your book is published at all. But what can we control? We can control our input. We can control our effort. We can control whether we write the book in the first place. We can control whether we finish the book. We can control the quality of the book. And if we're focusing on the reasons that we do that work and what we hope for in the outcome, and we can put our energy into manifesting what we would like to see, and our effort is aligned with that energy, I truly believe that eventually the thing that you're hoping for and the thing that you want for yourself will come to fruition. I've seen it happen time and time again with several of my clients. I mentioned in last week's podcast episode that I have, since I started my business, which I don't think I mentioned when that was, I started my business in 2020. Yes, right before lockdown. It literally was January 2020. Since I started my business, I have 4 clients that have published books. And from today, early February, through the next early February 2025 through the next 18 months, another 4 of my clients will have books published. And I have 1 client currently with an agent. So I have seen it happen with my clients, and I truly believe that it can happen for you too. And it's all a matter of focusing on what you can control, getting clear on your vision, making sure that your goals are aligned with your vision, and then taking small, steady action toward accomplishing those goals so that they move you closer to your vision. And yes, I have all sorts of strategies and tools for how to go about doing that, which I get into in my signature program, Nonfiction Bootcamp. It is a DIY video course that goes through all of my philosophy and my I was about to say my system, but then that's completely counterintuitive to everything I said at the top of this episode about how no one system is going to work for every single person. But that's just it. It's a system that is meant for you to learn and customize and integrate and internalize and become aware of what works for you and making tweaks and implementing only the things that work for you so that you really are getting into a place that allows you to make the progress that you want to be making in the way that's the most supportive and integrated with your life, where you are, your needs, and what works best for you. So that's my signature program, Nonfiction Bootcamp. It's a DIY video course. You can purchase it at any time and go through it at your own pace. There is also a video course plus coaching package available, group coaching package, where you buy the video course and it comes with group coaching. So that's also available. The links will be on the post for this podcast episode once it publishes, but you can find out more about Nonfiction Bootcamp and other ways to work with me by going to moretothestory.co, and there's a work with me tab option right at the top of the navigation menu. Just click that. You'll see that one-on-one. You can book a one-on-one with me. You can check out Nonfiction Bootcamp. There is manuscript editing available as well, although I would include group coaching options first, because guess what? Group coaching clients get additional savings on the manuscript review and feedback. So I'm going to leave you with that today. Those questions will be outlined in the notes for this episode. So if you were listening while you're walking, exercising, driving, and you weren't able to capture those questions, be sure to visit us at moretothestorypodcast.substack.com. Subscribe so that you always know when there's a new episode. And those questions will be written down as part of that post, and you can capture them and journal them and work through them on your own, and leave a comment and let me know what you come up with. Let me know what you discover when you start to get clear on some of those answers for yourself. Leave a comment on the post, and I'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much for being here. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at Janna Maron. You can follow Under the Gumtree on Instagram at Under Gumtree. You can subscribe to the podcast at Substack, moretothestorypodcast.substack.com. And there's all kinds of info on there on other ways to connect with me, in particular signing up for my email list, which I promised to have a link for you today, and I don't, because I just went right into recording this episode after last week's episode, and I wanted to get it recorded. Remember, I am doing everything I can to not let any barriers keep me from recording and releasing these podcast episodes. So go to Substack, go to the post on Substack for info on connecting with me on Instagram, signing up for my email list, and I can't wait to connect with you. Thanks so much for being here. Bye for now.